when I called my mom, I said, Mom, there's a job for me to do in Russia. He said, no.
God
I
forbid.
don't want my son to go. So I travel with Gary, I travel with Poundo, I travel with Semo in my, just one pack, you know.
Right.
So when I got there, they were not sure what the thing was. So because of that, they delayed me at the airport for 4 hours.
Wow.
4 hours.
Done a lot more than that. But there's an allegation we have to put to rest.
Okay.
Over the years, when we're at ITV, people say that I sound a lot like him. I'm going to do an intro and you'll say the exact same thing. And then the viewer can be the judge. How do you move from building a career in Nigeria to becoming a global name? I'm talking to someone who's actually done it and whose journey I'm particularly familiar with. The first time I heard Mike Okwoche on radio, I was a co-member at the NYC camp in Edo State. We later on worked together at ITV Radio in Benin and then TVC News before Mike took his career all the way to Moscow, where he now works as global anchor with RT International. And there's another part of that story that makes this conversation truly special for me. Mike has mentored me for so many years. So I found it such a privilege to have him talk about that journey from Nigeria to the international stage and exactly what it takes to make that great leap. Let's talk to the power, Mike. Thank you so much for doing this.
It's really nice to be here. It's good to see you.
And you look
wonderful.
good.
And it's good to be home.
So take me back to the beginning. Tell me
Wow.
the part of the story you
Wow.
probably haven't shared
Wow.
publicly.
Wow.
How did you leave all of us in Nigeria
No, I didn't leave you
and
now.
land an international job 4,000 miles
No, I didn't leave. I didn't leave.
in Moscow?
The point there is, now send me now, as they always say.
I like
You know, sometimes we often pray for so many things. But like they say, whatever you pray for, you prepare for. So that when skill meets opportunity, it catches like fire. That's what the thing is. There are different people who are also having even bigger opportunities. I remember the day one of my friends reached out to me. He said, Mike, how are you? I said, I'm fine. It's a long time. We haven't heard from each other. What a pleasant surprise. You know, it was just a regular kind of. He said, there are some persons who like to reach you. I said, okay. He said, they are from Russia. I said, Russia? Yeah, it's not a problem, but the point there is, I am just a journalist, you know, because back home here we have this certain mindset about places we don't have any single idea about, you know, and so on. I said, Russia? I don't know anybody in Russia. So why would they want to reach out to me, you know, and so on? But they say they are media. Oh, okay. If they are media people, then it's fine. It's okay. We can talk about anything, media, and so on. And when it comes to media, on the African continent, you know, at the time I also teach media, you know, because I was a lecturer at the time. So the point there is, there's no big deal. Put them on, and then we arranged and then we spoke. And from speaking, that was it, you know. So that's a summary of it.
So you didn't apply for the job?
No, I did not. I did not. The point there is the opportunity came, and it's just like the kind of opportunity we're talking about, right? I didn't apply for. In fact, I had my wife. We've had back and forth sometimes because, you know, this jackpot syndrome where everybody wants to go abroad and so on. There was the issue of, okay, for the children, you know, create an opportunity for them to go abroad. I say, yeah, but the point is, I have never really been a crazy person about going abroad and so on. I've traveled to so many countries in the world, yes, for business, for work, official, and come back. Yeah, that's me. I'm a typical Nigerian, right? But the idea of leave, relocate, it's not my thing. But I've always said, well, if opportunity comes, why not? I'm a global person, you know, anywhere, you know, and so on. And that's what the thing is. So when this one came, it was a thought. Can I think about it? I, you know, made consultations here and there.
How easy was that decision? Because if it was another country, maybe the US, UK.
Well, no, for me, my mind has always been open. I've always had this open mind. So it wasn't that easy. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't challenging. It wasn't as challenging as one would be, or one would think, you know, at the time. So I thought about it and like, yeah, it's a great opportunity. If people live there, then I can live there. I called my mom. My mom was one of those I felt, when I called my mom, I said, Mom, there's a job for me to do in Russia. I was like, It's another place they are fighting. I said, no, yeah, but it's not the same. He said, no, 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 no.
God
I
forbid.
don't want my son to go. I said, no, mom, calm down, calm down. It's not as bad as you think, right? I know, okay, there is a conflict, at the time, but then that's not what, it's not like, oh, everywhere is going, bazooka. That's not what the thing is, So, but the point there is, I told her, if people live there, and there are people who are still sending messages to me, so why not? Let's go there and see. If we go there and it doesn't, then we can come back.
You've done almost 3 years now.
Yeah, I've done 3 years. In fact, this month is my third year.
It's your third year.
Yeah.
Looking back, would you make that decision again?
Again and again. In fact, this time around that I now have a good grasp of what that part of the world is, I will make it even quicker.
Wow.
Yeah, because the point there is, here in Nigeria and many parts of Africa, we don't have so many idea about the knowledge of what goes on in Russia and all of that, because how traditionally we are leaned to Western countries, Western ideology, Western way of life. And a lot of us have traveled to Western countries time and time again, and may never even have had any opportunity to travel East.
Indeed.
Those who have gone to the East, most people maybe China, right? But Russia is not necessarily on the radar for a lot of people, except for those who travel there and see what, like, whoa. And then you can come back and tell the story of, like, no, it is not what you guys think, and so on. So if I have the opportunity again this time around, I'll make it quicker.
For someone who's lived lots of his adult life in Nigeria, working as a journalist, what was the biggest culture shock for you?
No, I didn't have a culture shock
when you got to Moscow.
No, I did not have a culture shock. You see, that's the thing. The point there is, because I am generally a language, food, tradition, history person naturally. So going to those places, mine is, okay, let's see what the thing is. I may not know it, but let me see what the thing is. So going there, I was already open. Now, the point there is, before I went, I Googled, what Russia is and what. I didn't get the kind of thing that would spur me to, oh my God. But okay, let's go there. Let's see what the thing is. But from the airport, when I landed the first time at the airport, we're like, whoa, this is not what I thought. Magnificent airport, fantastic. And I said, okay, there was a driver waiting for me already. And then, there was a drama, which I wouldn't want to say now because it's a long story of how they held me. So when I was going, I had semo, and gari and poundo in my bag. So I traveled with gari, I traveled with poundo, I traveled with semo in my, just one pack, Right. So when I got there, they were not sure what the thing was. So because of that, they delayed me at the airport for 4 hours.
Wow.
4 hours. I believe they were investigating what dust is. You know what that thing is. But of course, I'm a journalist. I came here to have fun. So whenever they are through, they'll reach out. So they isolated me and I sat down somewhere. Nobody spoke to me, so I didn't know what the thing was. But I knew that I don't have anything incriminating. But when they are through,
they'll get back.
They'll get back. Sat 4 hours. So when it was my time, they called me to one office, and then I sat down and they asked me questions, who I was, what I was here to do, and all of that. And I told them everything. And they saw the way I was asking. When somebody has something incriminating, psychologically, there's something wrong about the way you. I mean, I was just having fun. Right? I was just having fun. The point that, I'm here, and so on. Then they asked me what luggages I carried, what were in my. I said, well, I have my clothes number 1. Then I told them, have you been to Africa before? They said, no. That's how I was engaging. So I told them, well, I have what they call gari in my bag. I have what they call semo in my bag. I have what they call poundo in my bag. They are like dusts, so from cassava and from yam and all of that. So you may not know, but it's an African delicacy. You need to taste it. So that was how I went. And when I saw my bag, part of it was, I knew, okay, it was part of, they were investigating the thing. But when they saw there was nothing, I left.
They had to let you go.
They had to let me go. And I saw the airport, fantastic. Going into the town, like, my God, we don't know anything about this beautiful country, and so on. And that was like, everywhere is so clean. You don't find any drop of nothing.
Someone obviously has fallen in love with Russia.
No, that's what the thing is. The point is, the first time I went to the US, it was the same thing. I was like, whoa, in fact, there's too much Hollywood from anywhere you land in the US, right? It was the same thing. So the point there is, of course, we are just enjoying the world.
Well, you know, one thing is certain for many people watching this, many Nigerians watching, they'll say it will take a lot of courage to move with your family from Lagos to Moscow. In the midst of all the news we hear.
Yeah, but the point there is,
yes,
because I've gone there and I've seen what the thing is.
Yeah.
There's so much. You know, the thing is blown out of proportion, right? There's conflict, yes, that's not a doubt. But the way it is blown, if you're not there, it looks like, oh my God, everywhere
it's
is
a no-go area.
That's the thing. You know, of course, you remember the issue of Boko Haram here in Nigeria.
Exactly.
If you are not home in Nigeria,
they make you feel like
it looks like even in Lagos, you can't be in Lagos. Exactly. And then when you hear news from all over, it looks like Nigeria is turning upside down. It looks like the moment you step on the tarmac at the airport, you're going to be kidnapped. That's what it feels like from outside. But when you come in, you know that no, it's not like that.
It's not like that. Let's talk about the newsroom in Moscow and how it's different from the one you're acquainted to or with in Lagos.
Yeah, the good thing there is being in TVC. That we you know, we worked together before I left. Yes. The point there is I've been exposed to international broadcasting when it comes to the standards, you know, news software, you know, news automation system and process generally. I've been used to that. So it wasn't so much of a difference per se. But of course, when it comes to standard and other extra equipment and how to get yourself enmeshed in them, of course, there were some standards you needed one to get used to. But basically, it was almost the same. But the new softwares are different. But, you know, it's just like if you're using an Android and I'm using an iOS. That's right. It's different. But the point there is, if you can use one, then just a little.
It's basically the same thing.
Yeah. So basically, that's what it was. But this is based on what I knew and what I saw, right? The place is so friendly. People there are so friendly, ready to mingle, ready to help, ready to be your friend. It's fantastic.
What about the communication gap?
Oh yeah, that's a huge challenge.
Because I don't think
no. Of course, the point there is a lot of the national language is Russian, right? And of course, people speak English, but almost everybody speaks Russian. And if you're just coming in, then you need to do a lot of learning. So I took some language courses, you know, online.
Oh, you speak Russian now?
No. It's just a little, just to buy akara and kose and do just by the roadside. But the point there is at least to communicate with drivers, and when you're buying something, it's basic, right? So one is able to communicate with that. Language is a barrier, but it doesn't take long before you begin to understand what these things are.
We have to go now, but I wanted to speak to a young Nigerian watching this, perhaps a young journalist, who's saying, my destiny must not die in Nigeria. I want to go global too. What are the 2-3 things they must start doing right now? That we must start doing right now?
Young people are overtly ambitious. I know that we all want to make it and so on, but you can't be ambitious and desperately ambitious to the detriment of honing your skill. That is the challenge with some of us. We just want to hammer today. We want to blow. No, that's not the thing. The point there is, this is not music. This is not movie. The news, you require a skill. Even in movie and music, you require skill, right? So a lot of people want this thing without focusing on the skill. So I will talk to young people today. The moment you have it, that thing will come for you. But be diligent, be committed, be dedicated to your duty first. Then all the other grace, God will take care of the rest, right? And then build network, because sometimes some of these jobs come by one phone call. Hey, are you there? Please, there's something. I was telling you about the story now. That's right. That's how it goes. Right. So you can't be focusing on you want to blow. It is somebody who signs off on your coming over. It's somebody who signs off on your upgrade. It's somebody who signs off on your network. So build on that network first. Nigeria is also a beautiful country. I've lived all my life here. It's an amazing, there are great opportunities here. So we can't, because we want to go abroad, we can't abandon as if we're escaping something. No, that's not what the thing is. Awesome. The point that Nigeria also has everything, right? You can hone your skill here, do your business, but the point there is the sky is open for all Nigerians. In fact, we are naturally very mobile human beings on earth. Nigerians are some of the most mobile persons on earth. We can find ourselves anywhere. And I'm one of them, and all of everybody. So the issue there is, first of all, focus on the skill. Young broadcasters, focus on the skill. Young broadcasters, focus on the skill first. Hone your skill first. Every other thing will come, but focus on the skill. That's what the thing is.
Absolutely. I like that. So you've mentored me for years now.
we shared ideas.
No. This is the most humble person on earth. Sometimes I try to be humble like you, but maybe you should lay hands on me.
Well done.
No, but what do you think I could be doing better right now?
No, you're doing everything. You're doing everything. The issue there is that in this job, there is no perfection. Nobody knows everything, right? Some of our icons, international icons we look up to, even internationally, nobody, they're just doing their thing, right? They're just doing their thing. Nobody is an epitome of perfection in anything. You're just doing it and people like the way you do it. That's what the thing is. So there's nothing. You're doing everything the way it's supposed to be done.
There has to be something that I have to do better.
No, the point there is there's always room for improvement.
Absolutely.
For that one I know, right? Even for all of us, there's room for improvement. So we will keep looking at how to improve. And the most important thing too is reading. You know, in our industry, we have to read. You need to, that for reading, we have to read.
You have to know something about everything.
Yeah, exactly. Know something about everything and know everything about something, you know. So reading is one thing I would say we should never stop doing. And then also upgrading yourself educationally is very important, you know, because when you do that, your mind also enlarges.
I'm sure to say, if I may go back to school.
Fine. I am currently in school too. So the point I can say, if I may go back to school, it's nice. Anybody, if you are, even professors are going back to school.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's a good thing. We go back to school, we learn all the things, upgrade ourselves, and then we become better. That's what the thing is.
The corridor chat is usually 10, 13 minutes. But I know we've done a lot more than that. But there's an allegation we have to put to rest.
Okay.
Over the years, when we're at ITV, people say that I sound a lot like you. I heard that also at TVC.
Oh, really?
I'm going to do an intro and you'll say the exact same thing. And then the viewer can be the judge. This is Corridor Chat with Nifemi Oguntoye.
Oh, that?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Corridor Chat with Mike Okwoche.
You see the difference now?
There's no difference.
Mike Okwoche. Thank you so much.
It's fine. Thank you.
The next time we'll be doing this, maybe I'll just come over to Moscow.
No, of course. Why not? Why not? We can do it anywhere.
Over the years, when we're at ITV, people say that I sound a lot like you. I heard that also at TVC.
Oh, really?
I'm going to do an intro and you'll say the exact same thing. And then the viewer can be the judge. This is Corridor Chat with Nifemi Oguntoye.
Oh, that?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Corridor Chat with Mike Okwoche.
You see the difference now?
There's no difference.
Mike Okwoche. Thank you so much.
It's fine. Thank you.
The next time we'll be doing this, maybe I'll just come over to Moscow.
No, of course. Why not? Why not? We can do it anywhere.